Land was for the taking in Folsom Field last Saturday, but Hugh Charles had something to say about that.
That's right, Phil, and the CU women's tennis team came out and just dominated their own invite.
Yep, and have you guys ever heard of a Stampede? Nope, that's the cross-country team. We'll explain on CU Sports Mag.
Welcome to this week's CU Sports Mag alongside Phil Milani. I'm Andrew Shapiro. And Phil, what a game last week against Oklahoma.
Yeah, there was a making for upsets here in Boulder. The number 3 team, Oklahoma Sooners, were in town, and the fans were pumped up. And here, Sam Bradford finds Joaquin Iglesias in the back of the end zone. Sooners up 7-0. They're singing Boom Sooner. Oh, no, wait. Here comes Hugh Charles with a big TD run, 7-all early. But Alan Patrick makes the OU faithful not miss Adrian Peterson, 14-7 Sooners. And Papa Hawk is concerned. Look at him yelling right there. But Hugh Charles is brightening up everyone's day, makes that sick, nasty move right there, get 110 yards and a TD on the day. That set up this 4th down. Cody Hawkins to Tyson DeVree, and the fans are pumped up.
That's right, Phil, and the Busties showing some heart here on 3rd down as Jordan Dysnall, look at him there, takes out Sam Bradford. And you know what? The Busties played phenomenal in the second half, holding Oklahoma to 56 yards. And after a muff punt by Oklahoma star cornerback Reggie Brown, here we go, Cody Hawkins to Dusty Sprague, touchdown. The game's tied at 24, and Kevin Everhart missed a field goal earlier in the game. But you know what? Not this time. Bam! Career-long 45-yarder. The Buffs upset the number 3 team in the nation, and everyone in Boulder is going crazy. It's bedlam. And you know what? Colorado had lost 14 straight games to ranked opponents. Not anymore. The biggest game in the Dan Hawkins era. And you know what? Papa Hawk, you got to be excited about this one. What do you got to say?
I told him all week that we're going to win the game. And I did. I told him that. I said, not because I'm the Swami, but I've been doing this for 25 years, and you know when your team's ready, you know when they're poised. You know, that's our expectation for this program, to be a national championship level program, to compete with the best programs in the country, and that means beating those programs. And so you have to be able to do that. You can't just keep coming close all the time. You have to be able to seal the deal, and I think that's a little proof in the pudding for everybody.
We knew we were going to have a chance to win. We didn't know how it was going to happen. We just knew we were going to have a chance to win. And probably right when the ball went through the goalpost at the very end, I was pretty ecstatic. But I don't know. I thought it was very exciting to see the students get into it like they did. And it's obviously a great win for the players, the programs, and the alumni and the former players and the Boulder community.
And let's take a look at those Big 12 standings. A look at that Big 12 North. 3 teams with 1-0 records starting off the weekend. And what about the South, Phil?
Man, it looks like Colorado's good there. But in the South, Texas A&M, Oklahoma State, you wouldn't have thought it, but they're on top. Oklahoma and Texas there, 0-1 after Kansas State beat Texas last weekend.
Tailback Hugh Charles was a big performer in last Saturday's game against Oklahoma. Charles rushed for 110 yards on 24 carries. He also led the Buffs with 5 catches for 48 yards. This outstanding performance makes him CU Sports Mag's Athlete of the Week.
I, for one, was expecting to win. We worked hard in practice. Everything we did was good. We had one of the best practices of that week we've ever had, and I think everybody felt confident going in. Yeah, it was an outside run. Everybody got to their blocks. I planned to cut it upfield, and I went and broke it outside. That's where my speed takes everything else. It takes care of everything else, and I just broke it to the pylon. I believe we are a second-half team. Oklahoma, they got real tired. They weren't expecting us. They weren't expecting to play us in the second half. They hadn't played any team in the second half all year, and I think that really got to them. They broke down, and we played our hardest. We played to the end, and this is why we came out with the victory. I'm Hugh Charles, CU Sports Mag Player of the Week.
That's right. Hugh Charles did have a huge game against Oklahoma, Phil.
Yes, he did. And for more breakdown of the game, we're going to send it to Leslie Fox and Roman Payan.
Welcome to this week's edition of Double Time. I'm Leslie Fox, and this is Roman Payan. Watch as we break down the Buffaloes' historical comeback win against the Oklahoma Sooners.
Huge win for the Buffs this past Saturday. Personally, I really think this is one of the biggest wins in this program's history. You know, before this game, coming into it, CU really had no chance to win this game. And I'm sure a lot of people out there felt the same way.
Exactly, just because the Oklahoma is so incredibly dominant in the past. You know, going into this game, the last 5 times the teams played each other, they've won all 5 games, outscoring the Buffaloes 156 points to 44.
You know, Oklahoma's defense in the past two matchups, they've held Colorado's offense to a total of 156 yards. Coming into this, Oklahoma, they were 23-point favorites. So it was just a great all-around performance. Leslie, what do you think the biggest aspect to this big, huge win was?
Definitely the Buffalo's defense. They really gave the offense a chance to win the game. They played their hearts out. Going into this game, Oklahoma was averaging 60 points per game and beating their opponents by 50 points per game. So the fact that CU could hold them to 24 points really showed how incredible the defense really was.
Holding an explosive offense like Oklahoma to 24 points says so much about this defense. You know, Terrence Wheatley, Jordan Dizon, Ryan Walters, they all came through huge. Ryan Walters came through with a huge interception late in the fourth quarter that really, I think, was a game-changing play. Jordan Dizon, he said that the key aspect to their game plan was to stop the run. And not only did they stop the run, personally, I think they stopped Oklahoma altogether. Passing, rushing, all around, special teams.
Exactly. You know, this defense, they gave the Buffaloes a chance to win. You know, the offense did a great job, but the defense is what really pulled through in this game.
They came up with huge plays, huge tackles, a lot of 3 and outs.
After this commercial break, we're going to talk about the offense.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about his summer fun. Whether we're talking man to man.
You don't need to be bigger than life to be a good dad. You just need to spend time with your kids. It takes a man to be a dad.
Welcome back to Double Team. Let's talk some CU offense. Now, not only did the defense give the offense a chance to win, but the offense really came through in clutch moments of the game. You know, the Oklahoma Sooners, the Buffaloes held them to 21 minutes of possession time, while the Buffaloes had 38 minutes. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was great. Cody Hawkins, he didn't have his best game ever, but, I mean, he did come through when he had to. He was 22 for 36 for over 200 yards. Did have 2 interceptions, but had 2 touchdowns as well. Cody had a great game.
Yeah, you know, and the great thing about Cody Hawkins is he does not play favorites with his team. He has no problem passing to anyone. He has confidence in all of his teammates.
Looking at the stats, Cody dished out the ball to 9 different receivers. He really spread the love out there on the football field.
How about Hugh Charles?
Hugh Charles was the leading receiver in this game. Not only did he come through with 100 yards rushing, came through with five catches for almost 50 yards.
Exactly. You know, Hugh Charles had a great game. I don't want to steal that from him, but Kevin Aberhart was the true hero of this game. You know, he made the 41-yard field goal to start the whole offense. After that, he came through in the clutch with a 45-yard field goal to win the game.
I mean, he did miss that one, but it was awesome. Coming through with that huge field goal at the end with all the pressure on him. I mean, that's clutch if you ask me. But, Coach Hawkins, you know, he really had a great mentality coming into this game. He convinced his players that, you know what, we could win this game. And the Buffs played great. It was an all-around great football game. And I'm sure they have lots of confidence going into Baylor next week.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, you know, confidence. They clearly had more confidence than Oklahoma. They showed poise. They showed experience. According to Cody, you know, in the locker room before the game, there wasn't one person that doubted they were going to win that game.
It was an impressive game, and people are still talking about it. So hopefully this confidence carries over into next week as the Buffs travel to Waco, Texas to take on the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, you know, last year's game was kind of dramatic. The Baylor Bears actually ended up taking the victory at Folsom Field in triple overtime with 34-31.
So you know the Buffs are playing with a huge chip on their shoulder this upcoming week.
Exactly, and I think the most important factor, if the Buffaloes want to see another W in the column, is confidence.
Confidence.
That's
and
exactly
hopefully
what
we'll be
they
talking
need to
another Buffs win next week on Double Team. Hopefully they come through. I'm sure they will. We're expecting big things out of the Buffs this week.
Yeah. All right. Well, next week on Double Team, hopefully we'll be talking about another Buffaloes win.
Hey, thanks, guys. Now, on the CU volleyball team, there's a new coach at the end of the bench.
And you know what? You'll never guess who it is.
Only you.
And it's true. We know we count on you to do what Rocky says.
Drown your campfires with water. Make sure it's totally wet. Then stir and drown again.
We know we count on you to do what Rocky says.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
20 kids. For 1 hour a week, you leave your concrete world of flip phones and faxes and talk to 20 kids about how business works. They will question everything. But those 20 kids will talk to 20 more. So by Saturday, what you said on Thursday could be halfway around their world. You get to make a difference. Could just make the rest of your week pretty dull. That's the new JA, teaching kids how business works.
The CU women's volleyball team faced the number 7 University of Texas in Austin last Friday. Colorado struggled through 3 tough games against the Longhorns and didn't get a single block. The Buffs jumped ahead early in the third game but couldn't hang on, losing the lead, game, and match. The loss puts CU at a 5-8 overall and 0-5 in the Big 12, the team's worst Big 12 start in history. After the loss, the Buffs returned home to try and salvage their season against the Missouri Tigers.
The Buffs volleyball team took on the Missouri Tigers last night at the Coors Event Center. CU got outblocked and outpowered by the Tigers in the first 2 games, dropping both of them 30-20 and 30-19. However, in the fight song, aren't the lyrics, "Never give in"? Well, the Buffs refused and won the 2 games, notching it up at 2 apiece. Unfortunately, the Buffs fire burnt out in the middle of the final and 5th game as they lost 9-15. This is the 7th time the Buffs have had a 5-game match this season, and they are yet to win one. The Buffs' next opponent is number 1 ranked Nebraska, and that match is this Saturday at 6:30 at Coors Event Center.
Ashley Nu'u played her final game with the Colorado volleyball team at the end of last season. But because of her successful career and those leadership qualities, Nu'u has joined the coaching staff as an undergraduate coach. Amanda Blackwell has the story.
For 4 years, Coors Event Center was home to Ashley Nu'u's stellar volleyball career. Nu'u finished at CU ranked 3rd on the Buffs' all-time assist chart and was 14th on the blocks list. But after her 4 years were up, Colorado and Nu'u found they couldn't part ways, and this year she enters the program as an undergraduate coach.
Here, my role is to really just be helping Jill. She's in charge of the setters, and just to give my experience and input, and that's really what it is. Right now, my role is just kind of encourager.
And with a lot of expertise in encouraging fellow teammates from the players' side of the court, Nu'u is now getting to learn from a different angle.
I wish everyone could take off a year and just coach and then come back and play, because I think there's so much more you can bring back with that knowledge. And so that's what I see, a lot of things that you're just not aware of playing, of running a practice really, and how they're deciding who to put on there and how much decision making there really is. It's not just black and white, this girl's better, this girl, isn't. It's a lot of gray area, and it's interesting to see kind of that all work out.
With the positive experience she's had on the teaching end, it's not at all surprising what she wants to do when her time at CU is up.
I would love to get into coaching. So really, I just am really blessed with the opportunity they've given me to just kind of shadow them and be in the background. So that's exciting, and I really hope to get in collegiate coaching. So we'll see where that leads me.
For CU Sports Mag, I'm Amanda Blackwell.
So because Ashley Nu'u was a teammate of many of her current players, she adds a level of camaraderie and respect to the coaching staff that may help turn around the Buff season.
The University of Colorado cross-country men and women's teams both had strong performances at the 22nd annual Rocky Mountain Shootout this past Saturday. Led by newlyweds Sarah and Brent Vaughn, both teams ran to a pair of victories over the likes of Wyoming, Northern Colorado, and Western State College. The Buff men took top honors with 19 points, while the women's team did as well with an impressive 20 points. The Vaughn duo won their respective races, helping both teams reach a top 3 ranking in their polls. Coming up for the Buffs are the pre-nationals in Indiana on Saturday, October 13th.
Over 50,000 fans packed Folsom Field on Saturday as they witnessed history. The 4th best comeback in CU history, snapping a 14-game losing streak against ranked opponents. OU, as I'm sure you all know, they were ranked 3rd in the nation. And with that, here's this week's trivia question. When was the last time the Buffs beat a 3rd-ranked team in the country? We'll have that coming up later in the show. Now, we have an obscure sport coming up later.
And you know what? It's from China. Stay tuned.
Who can turn the world on with a smile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can have the time, why don't you take it?
The best way out is by coming in. Going to family learning programs helps you and your family lead better lives. Call 1-877-FAMLET-1 because making it after all shouldn't just happen on TV.
Okay, so how this is going to work is when I connect these wires, the electricity is going to cause a chemical reaction to simulate the
eruption.
Eruption, very good.
If you're not helping after-school programs, you're really helping to take them away. After-school programs, wouldn't you rather be helping?
Last Friday, Texas Tech came to town to battle it out with the CU women's soccer team for the Big 12 Conference opener. After a scoreless first half, the Buffs weren't able to put it in the net, but Texas Tech managed to make it past the Colorado line of defense, ending the game with a score of 1-0. Victory wasn't in the cards last week, but luckily the soccer team still has high spirits, and they are going to need it with a big weekend coming up. The Buffs are looking for some big wins in the Big 12 when they meet up with big-time rival Nebraska on Friday and Iowa State on Sunday.
This past weekend, the Buffs women's tennis team had no problem continuing their hot streak as the dominated CU Invitational at South Campus courts. Colorado ended up winning 17 of their 23 singles matches and 8 of their 9 doubles matches over the 3-day event. Senior Victoria Almangio had a big weekend on the courts as she ended up going undefeated for the Buffs in her 5 singles and doubles matches. Next up for Colorado is a trip to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they will compete in the IT Central Regional in 2 weeks.
With the crazy, unbelievable game against Oklahoma on Saturday, we had to find out what fans thought on campus. SportsMag's Nate Edelstein reports.
Saturday's upset against Oklahoma was one of the biggest upsets in Colorado football history, and one of the biggest upsets this season in all of college football. So we hit the streets to see what fans thought of the big win and of the upcoming game against Baylor.
I honestly didn't think we had any chance. There was hope, but we didn't think there was any chance at all, especially by how we were playing before.
You know, I honestly didn't think we had a chance from the very beginning. You know, going 2-10 last year, I expected us just about the same.
You know, I was going to have hope for my Buffs, but I didn't really think it was going to happen, no.
Especially in the first half, we were down and it didn't really look very good.
So could a team that was 2-10 a year ago come back from a 17-point deficit in the second half?
It was getting scary. There was a lot of people that definitely left.
I don't leave these games. I come, I don't leave at halftime like a lot of people. I stay when I got to. It's just in my blood, I guess.
Towards the end, Oklahoma started making some mistakes, and we ended up doing pretty good and winning it, yeah.
Put up that comeback, and things got really crazy. It was a lot of fun.
The Buffs were able to pull this one off, so how does it look for the rest of the season?
I think we got a shot against anyone after this game, man. Yeah. Like, the offense is clicking, the defense is holding strong, man. I thought the weakness was going to be the defense. But, I mean, holding Oklahoma like that, who's been crushing teams, is great.
Looks like everyone in Boulder was pumped up after the huge upset over Oklahoma. We'll see if the Buffs can keep it rolling for the rest of the season starting this Saturday against Baylor. For CU Sports Mag, I'm Nate Edelstein.
Wow, that was an exciting win this weekend. Now Aaron Burgess joins us to talk about not football, but a different kind of obscure sport.
Thanks, Phil. For this week's Obscure Sport of the Week, we're traveling all the way to Beijing, China.
I found this sport in a garden outside the Temple of Heaven. It's called Taijuchi, and I had the chance to be taught by a local. Essentially, it's a modification of the game of catch, except it's much more fluid. Now, this is the equipment that you are using. It's 2 paddles and a ball, as you can see here. These balls are filled with sand, and these 2 paddles have a little bit of a floppy bladder in between them. Now, you're not hitting them with these balls. You're actually catching it and throwing it back. It's very graceful. It's very fluid. And here's a little video of what it looks like in action.
Crazy.
Going back and forth, and that's what it is, Phil. I mean, do you have any questions about this sport?
Yeah, like what's this material made out of here in the middle?
Well, it's hard to tell. This one I just bought off the guy I played it with, and there were probably different materials that are used. But this is a rubber material. It's more modern. I think it is a variation of an old ancient game that they used to play. Must have been used out of some hides or something. But this is just a cheaper version. It's rubber.
Huh, looks like it's fun.
It is.
Oh, well, next, coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the trivia answer.
That's right. I also have a weather report for you guys. Wow, that went a lot quicker than it was supposed to.
Real deal, baby. I know our love can multiply, 'cause you're the X and I'm the Y.
I'm the cute one, you know what I'm saying?
So, have you ever been backstage before?
Okay, guys, this is an abacus, an old school calculator. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Like the circle and the square, our geometry is a perfect pair.
Now, why should kids know about gravity?
Well, gravity holds them down.
I once was one, but now we're 2. I'm spinning out of control. Want to swear my love to you.
Well, time's up. The trivia question again. When was the last time the Buffs beat the 3rd-ranked team in the country? The answer, in 2001, the Buffs beat number 3 ranked Texas Longhorns 39-37. Now, that just happened to be the same year the Buffs won the Big 12. So don't get too excited, however, because the trivia questions and random statistics are no crystal ball.
That's right, Phil. CU women's golf team started the Heather Farr Memorial Tournament with a few rough rounds. However, towards the end of the day, sophomore Dominic Pidalewski helped the team finish the day off tied to Oklahoma. The second day into the tournament seemed to favor Colorado. The Buffs took the championship with a final score of 885, just beating out the Sooners. This win marks the first time in history that the Buffs have taken the tournament, having finished second the past 3 times. For now, the team focuses on the little mistakes until they travel to Texas for the Texas Tech Invitational on October 8th and 9th.
With a quick glance, it may look like a regular game of golf, but it's not. CU Sports Mag Sean Hauser reports on how an old trend is making its way back to the CU campus.
There's still a regular old golf club. What's missing is a golf ball. But it's still golf. It's just campus golf.
4! You know, with the trees around here and just beautiful scenery, you know, they said, you know, there's lots of holes to play, so that's why I play.
We just pretty much grab a set of clubs or a tennis ball and we just go off and just pick a random tree and then start teeing it off, and we'll say, well, I'll call it a par 4, and we'll get there. Sometimes we'll get a birdie. Most of the time, I'll get like a 9 or a 10.
This small group of students is carrying on a long-standing tradition here at CU. Equipped with only 1 club and 1 tennis ball, they view campus in a whole different way.
That was a really bad shot.
As a golf course.
Well, campus golf is like a really relaxed game, like I said, and, you know, choosing the holes is pretty much totally random. You know, we'll just kind of sit there and be, okay, hey, there's a tree, let's hit that, or there's a trash can, let's hit that, you know.
Not a fan of the greens? Then this might be your game. There's no putting in campus golf. Instead, the hole is over after you've bounced the ball off the target. With the campus not meant to be used as a golf course, there are certainly a lot more hazards to battle.
Way down there by the bike rack.
If you're teeing off and you hit another tree and it bounces off somewhere, just play it as it lands. That's the whole philosophy of campus golf.
But they do have one rule to deal with the number of people on campus.
Yes, you automatically win the hole when you hit somebody.
These guys will always live by the old saying, a bad day on the golf course is better than a good day at work. Or in their case, class.
Nice shot.
Sean Hauser, CU Sports Mag.
Now, Sean spoke with a member of the grounds crew on campus, and he said they don't mind students playing campus golf just as long as they respect the property.
If you want to support the CU football team this week, you're going to have to take a road trip because they're taking on Baylor and going to Texas this Saturday, and the game's at 5 o'clock. Unfortunately, Phil, the game's not going to be televised, but you can still support the Buffs play some volleyball this weekend against Nebraska at 6:30.
That's right, and the soccer team is also staying home this weekend. They play at Printup Field and will be playing Iowa State on Sunday at 1 p.m. Whether you are planning on staying home or going to Texas this weekend, wear your gold and support your Buffs. Like we just said, that game is in Texas, so we're going to do a little bit of weather now.
That's right, Aaron Burgess has got the weather for the game. What's it going to be like, Aaron?
Thank you, guys. I'm here with your game day weather forecast. It's not for Boulder, Colorado this weekend. We're talking about Waco, Texas. As you can see on this national weather map that we're going to bring up in just a second, there's a front over Colorado, but we're not concerned with that. We are concerned down low with Waco, Texas. This is the forecast for tomorrow. The game's around 5 o'clock. There is some precipitation in the area, but the first thing we're going to talk about is the temperatures. As you can see in another national map, the temperatures in Texas, you can guess it, they're warm. I'm looking mid to upper 80s down here in this region, but if we look a little closer into the Texas area with this infrared image, this is live. You can see down low here coming in from the Gulf of Mexico, there are some clouds. Now these shouldn't be a problem quite off the bat, but as we switch over to the visible light, you'll see a lot more clouds that are coming in. As you see these are going to help produce some of the precipitation that you might see tomorrow. Moving on, as you will see the precipitation map on this global thing, right around Waco, Texas region, I give it about 50% probability. It's not very likely, but it's still a chance that our players could be playing in a little wet conditions. It's going to be warm, it's going to be humid, it's going to be tough for these Buffaloes who are used to the dry mountain air. That's going to do it for the weather. I'll send it back to you guys.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. It looks like maybe that rain might affect the Baylor game. But you know what, Andy? I think that we were the preseason favorite in this game.
That's definitely right, Phil. But after last year's triple overtime game here, I remember that they're going to want some revenge on their minds, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was a tough home loss this year, but it looks like hopefully we'll go down to Baylor and beat them. For Andy Shapiro, I'm Phil Milani. That's CU Sports Mag.
The autumn wind is a pirate.
Lewis and Clark, great explorers. Hi, I'm Thomas Jefferson. Would you check out the West for me? Oh, sure. And they take their keelboat up the Missouri. Oh, Buffalo. Then they built Fort Mandan. They're at 1804. Made some friends along the way. I'm Sacagawea. Through the Columbia Gorge.
There are tons of ways to help with your kids' learning. Find the really good ones on connectforkids.org.
The sweet Pacific Ocean! Yeah!
We should go change this bong water and pack a fresh bowl, man.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, dude.
Hey, let me flip on the light for you.